Okay, let's just get straight into it. Look, if you're young, ambitious, and honestly kind of sick of the whole conventional narrative around money, this explainer is exactly what you need today. Society, it constantly pushes us to just accept a completely normal life. Average pay, maybe a little vacation once a year if you're lucky, and then it literally tries to shame you as greedy if you dare to want more. But the source material we're analyzing today from self-made multimillionaire Mark Tilbury, it completely flips that script. He argues that it's actually the system that's greedy, keeping everyone stuck while the wealthy get to enjoy real freedom. So today, we are going to walk step by step through his proven 5-stage wealth-building roadmap to actually getting rich.
But right off the bat, before we even break down this framework, I want you to take a second and genuinely ask yourself, which stage of wealth are you in right now? Be brutally honest with yourself here, because identifying where you actually stand today is literally the only way you're going to change your tomorrow.
So here's the exact roadmap we'll be covering. We're moving from the trap of drifting straight into the power of obsession, then discovery, acceleration, and finally landing on freedom and true wealth. Let's jump right into the first one.
Stage 1, the trap of drifting. You see, a massive, massive problem people face today is just the sheer, overwhelming volume of choices. Everyone online is yelling something different at you, right? Is the fastest way to wealth dropshipping? Is it crypto? Day trading? Having all these choices actually leaves people completely frozen. And here's the kicker. When you don't make a choice because you're terrified of picking the wrong one, life just makes the choice for you. And trust me, the system will absolutely choose to keep you broke.
It basically comes down to a stark contrast between two mindsets. A drifter just floats. They bounce from one job to the next, or from one shiny new side hustle to the next, literally just crossing their fingers and hoping that one day they'll magically strike it big, or, win the lottery. A builder, on the other hand, grabs the wheel. They make a definitive choice and steer their life in a very specific, deliberate direction, rather than just letting the system push them around.
And this quote right here really hits the nail on the head regarding the danger of drifting. If you aren't building your own dream, then someone else will hire you to build theirs. It's a harsh truth, but a necessary one. If you're stuck drifting, you are just a tool being used to build somebody else's empire. Because look, nobody is waking up in the morning thinking, hey, how can I make you rich today? The only person who is ever going to prioritize your success is you.
Stage 2, the power of obsession. Escaping that whole drifting phase requires one massive, monumental decision. You have to decide to stop being a passenger in your own life and become entirely, relentlessly obsessed with one specific goal: getting rich.
Now, lots of people will tell you they want to be rich more than anything, but honestly, their goal setting is just incredibly arrogant. They want to become a millionaire, sure, but they also want to, learn to play the guitar, or train for an Ironman, and become totally fluent in French by next Tuesday. Actually, building real wealth is immensely difficult, and only a tiny fraction of people pull it off. You simply cannot get there if your focus is fragmented across a dozen different hobbies. True wealth demands absolute, singular focus.
Stage 3, discovery, finding your pathway. Once you have that obsession locked in, you need a vehicle to get you there. The harsh reality of life is that you get paid in direct proportion to the value you provide. If you aren't rich yet, it's just because you currently lack value in the marketplace. But hey, the awesome news is that you don't need to invent some revolutionary new tech or guess the next huge crypto coin. You just need to discover and copy a pathway that is already proven to work.
We're talking about highly viable, high-income skills that are making thousands of people money right this very second. Things like video editing, drop shipping, deal negotiating, content creation. Unlike school where there's only ever one right answer on the test, in life, there are actually multiple right choices. The whole key here is to just find someone who is already crushing it in one of these areas and basically uncover their exact method.
So how do you actually do that? The source material shares this brilliant little anecdote about Mark Tilbury in his 20s. Before he opened his own hugely successful radio-controlled model shop, he didn't just guess how to run one. No. He went out and got a Saturday job at a local model shop. He was an absolute sponge. He asked a million questions, chatted with every customer, and literally wrote down their exact pain points. Finding a mentor or someone further along in the industry is essentially a cheat code. It gives you a literal blueprint to skip over years of painful mistakes.
Stage 4, acceleration, the lonely chapter. Okay, so you've got your blueprint. Now it is time for the action phase. You have to follow that proven pathway and just start executing. Do free work if you have to. Launch that ugly first version of your online store. You've got to accept that your early results are going to be pretty bad.
You have to be totally willing to suck at something first before you can ever become great at it.
And to actually speed up that acceleration, you need brutal, unvarnished, constructive criticism. And spoiler alert here, you are absolutely not going to get this from your family and friends. Why? Well, because they love you and they don't want to hurt your feelings. Plus, they usually aren't experienced enough in your specific new field to give you any real actionable advice anyway. You have to step way outside your comfort bubble and find people who will look you in the eye and tell you when you're going down the wrong path so you can pivot.
Getting that kind of tough feedback and just keeping your head down to grind leads directly into what we call the lonely chapter. And look, it's a brutal, super awkward middle ground. You start feeling really disconnected from your old friends because, well, they just don't share this crazy new ambition you have. But at the exact same time, you aren't quite successful enough yet to easily network with the millionaires you look up to. You're just kind of stuck in the middle.
A perfect example of this is the story of Mark's own son. Instead of just following the herd to university, he decided he wanted to build a videography business. For a solid couple of years, he was just grinding away entirely on his own. He lost touch with a lot of his old buddies, put in the grueling daily reps, and just refined his whole process. This period is incredibly isolating. And honestly, this lonely chapter is exactly where 99% of people throw in the towel and just slip right back into being average. You have to push through it. Stage 5. Freedom and true wealth. If you can actually endure that lonely, miserable grind, you finally arrive at the destination. This is the stage where all that hard work actually compounds, those high-income skills start paying massive dividends, and you reach that incredible, almost unbelievable point where you never have to answer to a boss ever again. But we really need to draw a hard line in the sand right here. Being rich and being truly wealthy are two wildly different things. When the money finally starts rolling in, you have a choice. You can choose to just be rich, blowing it all on the flashy cars, the designer clothes, just trying to impress people you don't even like. Or you can choose to become truly wealthy. That means taking that money and reinvesting it right back into your skills, your businesses, and real assets to just keep compounding that success forever. Let's break down exactly how a genuinely wealthy person handles their cash. Most people, the second they get a paycheck, they blow it on liabilities. Flashy cars, the newest iPhone, things that literally drop in value the second you buy them. It's a negative return that just robs your future self. Contrast that with passive investments like index funds, which quietly offer a great high return in the background. But you know what the absolute highest return on investment is? It's your own skills and your own education. You are, without a doubt, the greatest asset you will ever own. Truly wealthy people know this, and they prioritize reinvesting in themselves above all else. Okay, so let's pull all of this together real quick and review the journey. Step 1, stop drifting and letting the system push you around. 2, make that singular crazy choice to become obsessed. 3, discover a proven pathway from someone who is already winning. 4, endure that lonely chapter of acceleration and brutally hard work. And finally, step 5, when you do make it, reinvest that money to build lasting, generational wealth instead of just buying silly, flashy toys.
Which brings us to our final and honestly, most important question for this explainer. What will you reinvest in today? Because look, every single dollar and every single hour you spend is doing one of two things. It's either building your future wealth or it's actively robbing it. It's time to grab the wheel and take control of your pathway. Thank you so much for exploring this framework with us today, and hey, keep compounding those skills.